up everywhere? Welcome everybody. This is Quatre, something to that effect. And I'll be utilizing the new method that I developed, stirred up in a pot for the card game you've seen, bringing it to the table for the first time. This is a small commands and colors scenario. And what we have is these green blocks represent woods or forest. I've got the trees for it, but for you guys, it just blocks the view to have all these hexes full of trees. So I just left those off. And then another forest over here. We've got rifles. Looks like some line units there. Where's my pointer stick? Where might that be? Pointer stick. All right. Rifles. And it looks like regular line. Let me verify that. Yeah, regular line infantry. We've got what they call the Nassau, Hanover, and Dutch contingent. So that would be thus, and this. A lot of them actually, and then these guys who are all marked blue, even the cavalry, and this whole swath here as well, and the purple, are all the Dutch, Nassau, and Hanover units. We've got some British Guard units here, and this windmill actually represents Quatre, and that pretty much does it. The hills you can pretty much make out. It looks like the raised hexes here and here, for example. So let's just hop right into it. For those of you that drop in, feel free to say hello, etc. Let me know if you can hear me. All that good stuff. The French will be going first. I've got the dice tray pretty much where you guys can see it, or should be able to see it. And I don't know if you can hear it. I don't want it too loud, but I've got some. I don't want to say ambient because it's not really ambient, but it's called 1 hour of extreme Napoleonic Wars battle ambience. So they call it ambience in the background. All right, let's just hop right to it. So let's fire with these guys, and give me this stuff because I need it. Fire with these guys. Let's see if they're spent. And what is their true quality? These guys being French light infantry, true quality of 3. That's not very good. Can I get a 3 or less? I can. So we'll put a stress marker on him and go ahead and roll up his fire. Let's try and take care of this artillery unit here. So that'll be +1. All right, let's roll that up. We need this guy. 5, 6, 7, and we got an 8. And 9, 10, because they're in column. We need a 13 here, 11 for the target rank, and I did not get that. So that goes to the British. We'll go ahead and roll them up. For this artillery, we're looking at troop quality of 3. And I'll roll that up. So not very good roll. 3, 4, 5 for 2x distance is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Almost had something here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, just missed it by 1. Also, we'll mark them as having fired. Once they get to 5, then they can only fire at adjacent hexes. So that brings us back, and he made his. Did he make his spin check? I don't think he did. It was going to be 3 or less. Actually, it was going to be 2 or less, and he rolled a 3, so he's done. So now I need something to represent being done. Always something. These are big and wieldy and ugly, but this is what we'll use. This guy's done. Back to the French. So these guys can conduct another action, but because of the stress marker of having already conducted an action this turn, they'll take a penalty on the next spin check. How many turns is this fangled scenario? There is no turns, it's just victory banners. So they're saying 9 victory banners, which for our purposes would mean eliminated and or routed. Let's move these guys up here. Still has a true quality of 3, so we need a 2 or less. And he failed that, so he's spent. Back to the British here. Okay, we've got line of sight blocked, because this is woods, if you recall, so I can't fire through here as the British. Let's bring him up. Actually, you know what? Let's bring these guys forward into the woods so they can have that as cover. But because they're in the woods, they'll have to be in open order. They can't maintain a tight formation. Represent that accordingly. And conduct a spin check. Now that is the Dutch Nassau Hanoverian contingent. And they have a true quality of, well, 1, so they're spent, because they can't roll less than 1. That brings us back to the French. Ooh, my flipper. Flipper tells me who's going, so French, he's already spent. We'll bring these guys up to the woods here and conduct a spin check for that, which is a 2, and he is regular line infantry, so he's good to go. Press marker back to the British. Same deal, let's pull this guy up into the woods. You'll notice the British are in line whilst the French hang out in column. Easier to represent in this format than the card format. So, okay. He's done because he is also Hanoverian. Back to the French. The French is stressed. I want to try and bring him up 1 more hex into here. And that would be just our regular line infantry, and he has true quality of 4, so I need a 3 or less. Actually, I need a 2 or less because he's stressed already. Failed that, so he can do it, but he's done after this move here. That. Back to the British. We've got more Hanoverians. We'll pull him up, and he will be done. Pulled him out of the woods, probably a bad idea. That's how it goes. Back to the French. Let's fire with these guys. The light infantry, troop quality 3. Let's roll spin check. He's done, but he'll get to fire. So let's do melee, but that's melee into the woods. He needs to be in open order and stress marker. So, alright, let's conduct melee for this. And I'll roll that up, needing a 13 or higher. We've got 2 3s, so that drops to a 5 for cowering. What's your melee value? Nothing. So 5. I don't have this. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Drops back down to really 9. And the woods drops it further down to 8, so that is absolutely nothing there. These guys need us finished. Back to the British. We'll bring these guard. These are guard grenadier British infantry units. Let's start bringing them up, huh? And they should not get spent easily. They should be able to just keep maneuvering as the turn goes on. Now that I said that, that will be, yeah, because they have a troop quality of 5, so if I roll 4 or less, they're good to go. Roll a 1, so yes, they're fine. Back to the French. So you see how this flows? It flows perfectly. No need to call Roto-Rooter. At this point, let's change to do formation change here from column to line so we can have more firepower. We still need to conduct a spin check for doing so. He's regular French line infantry, is he not? Which means troop quality of 4, so 3 or less. And he did not get that. But he can change, even though he's now spent. So let's form up line, and we're doing this so we have better firepower. Staying in column really only helps for melee and in some systems maneuvering. Back to the British. We'll move these guys up 5 or less, 4 or less, because they're troop quality of 5. He's got a 1, he's good too. Put him up here. Moving 1 hex at a time might seem tedious, but because of the way this spin check stuff works, being able to move 4, 5, even 6 times a turn, it balances out. Back to the French. These guys. Formation change, no. I take that back. Let's move up and attack them in melee. Spin check for here. They are 3 or less. They roll a 4, so they're done. Attack there. Back to the British. So again, here's his second move. Just keeps moving up. And tell you what, being in command would help. I don't know that they're technically in command. I would say they're not. In fact, they have no leader at all over here. That's a quirk of using the commands and color scenario for my style of play, but that's easily fixed. Roll another spin check. So he will need a 3 or less, and he's done. But he got 2 moves out of it, so again, it works out. Back to the French. So still learning and dealing with how to best utilize cavalry in this era. And there's no point in bringing, I got lancers here and some cuirassiers here. There's really no point in bringing them out yet, because if you pit them against fresh troops, it's pretty much useless. Now I could try and force these guys to form square and then pummel them with artillery while they're in square, but let's just go. Let's just go with these guys. They're gonna fire. What is this? Troop body of 3. So we need a 2 or less, or they're spent after this fire. They rolled a 6, so they are spent. And there's 1, 2, 3 hex range. Firing units on a hill, but because they're also on a hill, that cancels each other out. 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So yeah, we've got that. Now the red die is a 3, so that should be, I already forgot. What is a 3? Disorder. Sorry about that. Here we go. So this Hanoverian line unit is now disordered. He's spent. Back to the British. So because these guys aren't spent yet, I could conduct an action and remove that disorder, because if they get disordered again, they're routing. Maybe I do that. Those guys are the Dutch Hanoverian Nassau units, so they will automatically be spent after this, but they get to shed that for their trouble. Back to the French. We'll just keep firing down the line. Hopefully we get a better result. Let's fire at these guys with the commander in hopes of possibly wounding the commander. Spin check first, and that's still what, 2 or less? Yes, 2 or less. We rolled a 4, and that's not good, so a couple bad rolls for the French on their spin checks. Good. What do we get? An 8. Pretty good stuff. And 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we just got a hit, and again we've got a disorder on these guys. Back to the British, they can do the same thing. Conduct an action to do nothing in order to remove that disorder, so they don't risk getting routed, and it pops right back to the French. For these folks, infantry-wise, everything's out of range, so we need to just start moving up off of the sanctity of our hills and conduct a spin check. This is, what is this? This is, nope. Yep. Regular line infantry, but terrible troop quality of only 2, so I need 1s. Otherwise they're spent. And a 7. So there it is. Nothing. That. Back to the British. I shed that, right? That's disorder marker, so they are spent. These guys can fire now because the French just moved within range, and they will automatically be spent after doing so because their troop quality is suspect. Oh, we'll roll it up. Good roll, that's a 9. However, they suck at firing too, if you guys remember. So I have to subtract 1, that drops to 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So we're going up above 13. The red die is a 5. So they retreat back where they come from. That was kind of useless. Back to the British. Or I'm sorry, the French will pull these guys forward here and conduct a spin check, which we need what? 1s? Do we need 1s? Yes, because their true quality is 2. We need to roll less than that, which means a 1. Are they spent? Ah, they're spent. Spent, spent, spent. Spent, spent, spent. We're going to head back to the British and go. These guys are not spent yet. Let's move them up again and then see if they are. Move to the woods. They'll have to change to open order due to the woods. And but it's going to be 3 or less, or they're spent. And they spent themselves. Here comes the rain. It's not supposed to rain. Thought about taking the bike out, but I didn't. Back to the French. What we got? We've got, let's move these guys up. And they'll be needing a 1. Again, I don't know if you guys remember or have seen previous videos, but this is the basically Conflict of Heroes spent check system. Very close. So he'll roll. He missed it. With this die, I'm using as a weighted die. It's not your typical 10-sided die. For instance, it has 2 1s on it, etc., etc. He spent. What he just spent. Back to the British. It's going to be. Let's consider these guys limbered and pull them up here. 1. And they should probably be spent after this. But we'll see. That's going to be 2 or less. He's spent. And flips right back to the French. So two players were going at it. There's not a lot of downtime for either player. As I think a number of games, one side can do pretty much everything, while the other player just sits back and watch before the opposing player can do anything. French again. Got everybody. Cavalry we don't want to touch yet. Let's bring these guys up, and are we still? Yeah, still 1s. Not very good true quality for these French here. Just a step above the Hanoverians, really. Well, that's historically accurate. And then the British again. What he's done over here. Just set the table with these cavalry here. Just set the table. Now they are Hanoverian cavalry or Nassau or Dutch, whatever you want to consider them to be. But their true quality's decent. They're 4 or less. It should be 3, which means let's do 2 or less. to balance it out because they're not typical British. So they failed that, and they get spent. And it goes back to the French. The French are running out of troops to activate. We've got 1, 2, 3. Let's see if we can get lucky with a roll here. See if they're spent. Troop quality 3, we need a 2 or less. He is spent. Mark him. And see what we get fire-wise. We're rolling 2 die 6. We need 13 or higher. Terrible. That's a 2. In fact, that's so bad. Good Lord. That's such a bad roll. I have to conduct a morale check for the artillery unit here. So that's terrible. And they passed it because they rolled a natural 10. You need 11 or higher on those morale checks. So they're fine, luckily. Back to the British. What are these guys? These are regular British line. In line. Move them up. See if they're spent. Regular British line. Troop quality 3, so we're going to need 2 or less, and we got nothing. I don't know if you can hear the thunder. It's one of those pop-up storms we get here. It'll be done in probably 5 minutes. We'll consider these guys limbered and move them up. Here. I think it's going to be 2 or less on that. Yes. So spin check. We need 2 or less. We get a 3. So this turn's going quickly. Going. French. It's still going to be a 1 or less. Let's move him here. Conduct a spin check. Can we get a 1? No, we cannot. He's done. Let's see, now the British can fire. These guys, Hanoverians, let's conduct double. They will be spent because of who they are. So there's that. Spent, not stressed. Spent. Roll. We can get a good roll here, right? An 8 cowers to 2 4s, cowers to a 7. Not going to be enough, I don't think. We'll see 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It drops down to 10 because of who they are. 11, 12, firing at a unit column. And they're on a hill, so 13. They just got it. And a 4 is our first strength point removed, so that 4 strength French unit drops to a 3. That's how it works. And back to French. Move him. Upwards and onwards. Conduct his spent check. He is spent. And back to the British. Now we've got this artillery unit that can fire long range. See if he's spent. That's Hanoverian artillery, eh? 1, 2, 3. So no fire values. Any roll of 1. That's. I'll be darned. No, he's still going to be. Sorry. Nope, he's not spent. That 1 did him good. Now let's roll up the result. Not very good. A 6 makes it a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good Lord. Ooh, he's on a hill. All right, hold on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, he just got it. So now he drops to a 2. Back to the French. I think the French are done now. Nobody's has anything that they can do. I mean, I can pull these guys up just in anticipation of something, but I'm going to pass. I'm not going to roll spin check. Goes back to the British. We've got 4 units there that can do whatever the hell they want. We're going to fire again with these guys. Can he get He's going to need a 1. No, he's spent now. And let's mark him accordingly. Check that. What does he do this time? Big numbers. Nope, he rolled 2, and that means worst roll you can get, he has to take a morale check. And he rolled an 8, he should be okay. His morale is a 7, so 8, 19, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, he's fine. Worst thing that could happen with this is become disordered when you roll those awful natural 2s when you're attacking. That's something I added to this. Again, the French are done, so it's just all the British here. Let's pull the rifles up. They are elite, so their spent check should consist of, you know what, they should be in open order, not 1. 4 or less, says me. Yeah, they're elite, so 4 or less, they're still good to go. Yep, they're good to go. What is their firing range here? Up to 3. 1, 2. So let's do it again. Spent check. This time they're stressed, so deduct 1. It is now 3 or less. He rolled a 3. Really? You need a 4 or less. He's spent. You need a less than 3. No, they're done. So we need a 4 or less. 5. No, he got it. I need a 3. Let's pull up into the woods. Spent check. 3 or less. He spent, but he got all the way up to the woods there. So that's good for them. That's great cover for the rifles. And what do we have here? Regular infantry? Yes. What is their quality? Their quality is 3. That's pretty good. So 2 or less for on their spent check. He spent. He gets to move up though. And finally, I don't even need to mark him. The same deal here. Move him. I should probably roll spent check after I conduct an action so I don't confuse you guys. And here, and here's our spent check. He needs what? 2 or less. He spent. So that's you know, technically if you go by commands and commands, there's no turns. That's turn for this. So house cleaning will get rid of stress markers, spent markers, and start turn 2. I don't know if I want to do that now or get my Indian food and then come back. That's probably what I'll do. I will, you know what, I forgot to mark, jeez, been forgetting to mark the artillery that fires, so I guess I've got unlimited ammunition, because that's realistic. Stress markers. So I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I feel like this system flows, it just works. I don't know. It's like gliding through the air. That's what it feels like. It may seem tedious to keep rolling spent checks, but you don't notice it as you're doing it. It's not an issue. It'd be the French turn on turn 2. On turn 2. That was turn 1, so now it's turn 2. Recap, not a whole lot. We've got, I don't know that artillery could actually move into the woods. I'll have to check that. I know cavalry will not. Well, we've got these Hanoverians in the woods here, the French line in the woods there. These guys are now half strength, That was interesting. That's the only casualties we've had. We had one retreat. Things will start heating up as we go. We've got the British Guard infantry now slowly moving up, as is this artillery. More Hanoverians from here, kind of holding in place. And then the British left flank consisting of natural British troops and Hanoverians. Back end moving up, Hanoverians holding in place, and the rifles moved all the way up into the woods here. Haven't gotten any shots off yet. They're in open order. And anytime you're in the woods, you're in open order. Which rank-wise, and that factors into firing and being fired at melee and stuff. Rank-wise, so for firing, infantry in open order has no ranks. And for melee, same deal. So no ranks when you're in open order there. I think that's it. I'm going to cut it and come back this afternoon. So let's say an hour or two from now, just check back and we'll conduct some more of this. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon.